Hello, dear friends. I have found a cascade of positive signs that has left me surprised, but confirms what I already knew, that this dark night of the soul has to dawn at some point, and that this moment is just now, because the narrative of fear is already very worn out, and it is agonizing. No evil lasts 100 years, and nobody can withstand it. Opinion piece. There is a way out. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Everything is coming to light. This nightmare will soon be over. Watch for cascading resignations. Recovery is accelerating. Good is triumphing over evil. We are approaching the April showers. Negativity is reaching its limit. The show will end well for all. The white hand is winning over the black hand. There is more strength in the calm than in the storm. The Chinese stock market lags behind and has lost money. The mummy parade in Cairo moved a lot of energy. The new financial system is about to be introduced. WHO rejects travel inoculation certificate. Predicts that this health crisis would be over in about 10 months. The Spanish government wants to end the state of alarm on May 9th. China's digital currency could disrupt trade and finance. Elon Musk says technology already exists to create a real Jurassic Park. Let's start. Positive news is multiplying worldwide over negative news, because the saturation of negativity is reaching its limit. I already said yesterday that the rope cannot be tightened indefinitely, because it has a limit of the resistance. And this is just what is happening now. Have you noticed the sudden changes of opinion of some politicians? Have you not perceived the unhinged face of consent that the West ones have because they know what awaits them? Each one reaps what he shows, and the one who shows the wind reaps the storm. I have just started to see signs that the tables are turning on my daily search for information. Suddenly, the IMF says that the recovery is accelerating. The WHO rejects the inoculation certificate and states that the crisis could be over in 10 months. The Spanish government wants to end the state of alarm on May 9th, and several regions reject the use of the mask in the open air, as long as the safety distance of 1.5 meters is kept. On the other hand, the Finnish government has reversed the blockade of different cities, as the measures were considered illegal by the country's constitutional law committee. Positive signs. According to Rafapal, there are strong indications that we are approaching the April showers, the April rains, symbolically speaking, as it is a military code. A large number of Twitter accounts of US Army and Security Forces branches have changed their logos to red for a few moments and then to blue. Some have interpreted this as DEFCON 2 being red, while others have suggested that it is a sign that they are on their way. According to the X22 report, everything that the fungal has kept hidden is now coming to light. Everyone can now see the true agenda of the Slag. The corrupt politicians are going along with this, and as they push taxes in their agenda, it is becoming more and more obvious that it doesn't benefit the people. The people are waking up, and more are about to wake up. As this continues, the people will know who the real enemy is. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but the citizens must come to the edge of the precipice and see the truth of treason, sedition, crimes against humankind, the border, the economy, and deception. Everything is about to explode in the quagmire. Strength in the calm. Fellow German Stefan has sent these wise reflections, from which I make an excerpt. First of all, thanks to all those who used the days of Easter to visualize our beautiful new world. Thank you to all those who visualized their beautiful future. It was an important counterattack to all the negative emotions that creep into the morphogenetic field. A good friend of mine summed it up in a nutshell, what we are currently dealing with. In quotes, I think we are feeling the mood of the Maya, which is now being realized around the world that nothing works for the bad guys anymore. This is a mixture of giving up, disappointment, and resignation, because they've worked so hard and haven't succeeded yet. That mood is in the field, in addition to the mood of those, that is, all of us, who are slowly losing patience, and those who are irrationally afraid, have doubts about the social pressure, and see no way out. It's a mix of all kinds of negative emotions that makes many of us apathetic. I'm sure you realize how difficult our visualization task is, but at the same time, how important it is. The morphic or morphogenetic field is always a give and take. It absorbs everything that is brought to it and transmits what predominates. So now we have to take care that the positive prevails in the field. This is supported by the fact that positive feelings, thoughts, and desires are much more powerful because they are unequally empowered towards the negative ones. We, who have been awakening for a long time, do not have it so easy now either. We feel like taking water out of a boat and the next wave fills it up again. Too many channels believe they have the ultimate truth, send messages with their interpretations and date predictions. Then, after these predictions have passed without success, the army of scoffers stuck in, showering everyone with false assessments based on blindness and ignorance. Basically, it's all one big mess. Like a nutshell, in a storm at sea, one feels torn back and forth. Many veterans feel this way, but especially those who are just waking up. It is unfortunate that many of the newcomers threaten to go back into a deep sleep. That's unfortunate as all the people who take their own lives voluntarily. But we have to accept that, like everything else. We have no right to impose our will on other people. We would be no better than the bad guys if we behaved that way. This is a show. We are still in a show, and no one in the audience can predict to us what will happen on the stage and how the show will turn out, because no one has seen this show before. It's impossible to predict when something will happen and what will happen. That's something we should realize after all this time. If your seatmate whispers something to you, ignore it. It's not true, because he's not one of the controllers. You will also see many spectators walk out of the show, shaking their heads, overbearing and arrogant. There are more of them, but in return, new people are coming in. This always causes some discomfort, because they want to whisper about what has happened before. First of all, we must remain calm and not give in to overly high expectations, although for many the pressure is mounting, be it financial, professional or family, who is surprised after all the roadblocks. I cannot go on like this for much longer. Let us follow the truthful channels who give us hope and strength to live, who restore our faith in difficult times, who believe unwaveringly, who trust in the good outcome of the show, who strengthen us when we waken. The negative feeling of others will become less, because the puppets of the quagmire will become less. The more light that reaches the people when we realize that much good is still happening behind the curtain. Just look at all resignations, deaths and suicides in the last few weeks. And I want to quote Simon Pax, who also reassures me, in quotes, "We are on the verge of introducing a new system that will liberate humankind." The bottom line, however, is that many people have realized that something was wrong, and many are rightly waiting for someone to bring about the necessary change. Most importantly, however, is that once America and the world are back in balance, then we as a people should say never again. Every nation will say never again, because we will have learned our lesson for eternity. This nightmare will soon be over. Our liberation is full swing. There will be no world war, certainly not with Russia. The show will end well for everyone. We will learn that all that has happened in the background and often look at each other in disbelief, because many things will be unbelievable. Change of position. The World Health Organization has spoken out against the introduction of inoculation certificates. In their opinion, this would not be convenient, and the health crisis could be over in 10 months. This rejection by the WHO has frustrated the aim of many governments who want to extend control over citizens. According to Reuters agency, the WHO is not in favor of requiring inoculation passports to move between countries, due to both uncertainty about the effectiveness of the injections and ethical doubts about this measure, as well as discrimination of people, said spokeswoman on Tuesday. In quotes, "We at WHO say that at this time we wouldn't like to see passporting as a requirement for border crossing, because we are not sure at this time that the injections prevent transmission," said WHO spokeswoman Margaret Harris. Apart, in quotes again, apart from the issue of discrimination against people who can't inject for one reason or another, she told a United Nations briefing. Excuse me. Spain. The Spanish government wants May 9th to be the end of the state of alarm. I repeat, to be the end of the state of alarm. The president of the government, Pedro Sánchez, has assured that he wants May 9th to be the end point of the state of alarm, and that from then on it will be the Interterritorial Council who will make the decisions, although he wasn't clear on whether this council, in which the government and the autonomous communities, regions, are represented, could take measures to restrict mobility. I hope not. Finnish government also backs down on city blockade. Finland's Prime Minister Sanna Marin accepted that the proposed measures to impose strict closures in 5 cities, including the capital Helsinki, were deemed illegal by the country's Constitutional Law Committee, and therefore withdrew the proposal. Abandonment suffered by the elderly in Spain. Amnesty International's annual report exposes the neglect suffered by healthcare workers in Spain during the first months of the crisis and the disproportionate number of deaths among the elderly, as well as denouncing arbitrary actions by the security forces during the state of alarm. The health crisis is the focus of the NGO's traditional report, which devotes a large part of the chapter on Spain to the shortcomings suffered by health personnel and the human rights violations in homes for the elderly. Andalusia joins the regions that oppose the use of masks on the beach. After the approval of the controversial law on the use of masks, which came into force on March 31st, there have been several regions that have shown their refusal to comply with this measure on the beach, and the last to join has been Andalusia. The junta has shown its opposition and is committed to follow the same measures as last summer, mandatory only for walking along the shore. The Minister of the Presidency of the Junta de Andalucía, Elías Bedondo, has explained that using the mask for sunbathing is a clear way to scare away tourism, and has asked for common sense so that the government rectifies as soon as possible. He has also described this rule as a nonsense, and has stressed that from the government of this region do not understand this measure. The bottle half full. The IMF sees a way out of the crisis. The International Monetary Fund said Tuesday that it sees a way out of the health crisis, projecting a rebound in the global economy in 2021 thanks to strong fiscal support, especially in the US, but warned of an uneven recovery. The global recovery is accelerating, and the International Monetary Fund estimates that there will be economic growth in the world of 6% for this year, 6/10 more than expected in January. Although it warns that the health crisis is leaving scars in emerging countries, such as greater inequality and increased poverty. In its spring forecast, the organization also predicts a 4.4% expansion for the next year, 0.2 of a percentage point more than in January. The IMF postponed Spain's recovery. Spain's rebound will be rather technical and will cause the recovery to lag behind. The IMF has once again confirmed that Spain will lag behind them in terms of economic recovery, and with it in the evolution of the labour market, a weak point of our economy due to its lower productivity. The half-empty bottle. Yet the Atlantis report says quite the opposite of the IMF. The government is broke. Corporations are broke. Many people are broke and struggling. Yet the mainstream media narrative suggests we are in an economic boom. In fact, if you are in the top 1%, this is the best economy in history, hands down. The Fed is printing money at an unprecedented pace. The US government continues to borrow and spend at a dizing pace. The money printing press is running day and night to buy goods and stocks from other countries. The US prints money like there is no tomorrow. Most of those dollars go directly into the stock market, so they fly. GDP has to increase faster than money printing. Otherwise, the dollar, in relative terms, is going to lose value. The dollar is sinking. There is talk of inflation. The interest rate is going up because of the huge money printing economy. We are spending with all these stimulus programs more than twice that we bring in. This is immoral and unconstitutional in his opinion. The dollar will be toast when this is all over. This is planned destruction. Economy. U.S. trade deficit hits record as economy accelerates. The U.S. trade deficit soared to a record in February as the country's economic activity picked up faster than that of its global rivals. Could remain elevated this year, and the massive fiscal stimulus is expected to fuel faster growth in nearly 4 countries. Preparing the Fed coin or digital dollar. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston is currently working with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on the project, with the first step expected to be unveiled by the fall, as explained in the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday. We have been offered some details on the direction it appears to be headed, drawing similarities to private cryptocurrencies without the mining costs. FBA rates safe deposit boxes. A Beverly Hills small business that rents private anonymous safe deposit boxes was raided by the FBI last month, at which point the agency made a blanket seizure of hundreds of customers' belongings. Shortage of $1 chip influences prices on TV and laptop displays worldwide. The shortage of a display driver valued at $1 triggered a crisis in the global semiconductor industry. The production technology for this part is obsolete. The special machines used for the process are running out of stock. Meanwhile, demand continues at high rates and already goes beyond the technological sphere. Under these circumstances, producers cannot meet the needs for the market. A group of researchers, psychologists and psychiatrists have developed artificial intelligence algorithms that, by analyzing text, images and activities on the social network Twitter, detect patterns of suicidal behavior with 85% accuracy. That remembers Minority Report movie. China. Chinese stock market lags and loses money. The start of the year for the Chinese stock market hasn't been as idyllic as investors might expect. The country's equities have lashed behind US and European indices after a year-end in 2020 in which the Asian giant was the undisputed leader. China's digital currency could upend international trade and finance. Beijing sees the move as a way to increase its monetary sovereignty, protecting it from Washington's decisions and the dominance of the dollar. The digital currency can be a tool for China to polarize both its economy and transactions occurring beyond its borders. China's digital currency largely eliminates the ability of the US to impose sanctions and blockades, as well as to obtain information about those transactions. The dark side. Iranian ship attacked along main Red Sea shipping route. A mine has damaged an Iranian ship in the Red Sea waters between Yemen and Eritrea. Israel and Saudi Arabia accuse it of acting as a base for Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces. Israel attacks Iranian vessel. A below the waterline attack on an Iranian vessel named Savith, allegedly involving Israel, has taken place in the Red Sea, the New York Times reports, amid a growing list of mutual accusations between Tehran and Tel Aviv of a possible aggression against vessels from both countries in the Middle East. Israel notified the US that its forces attacked the Iranian vessel. The Israelis called it a response for the other clashes that took place with Iran. A US war destroyer transit Taiwan Strait amid tensions with China. The US-guided missile destroyer USS John S. McCain sailed through the Taiwan Strait Wednesday in a routine transit maneuver, the Navy said. Russian army pushes ahead with tactical-level troop control project for network-centric warfare. The Southwest 2015 project seeks to unite all elements of the army in a digital information sharing all decision-making network. Both minimum infantry units as well as combat vehicles, tanks, artillery, drones, etc. Models who posed nude in Dubai deported. More than a dozen models, and the organizer of the nude photo shoot was that alleged Dubai authorities will not receive 6 months prison sentences, as the Muslim Emirate has decided to deport them. Tribal clashes in Darfur. At least 56 people has been killed and 132 injured since last Saturday in west of Darfur state on Sudan's border with Chad, in clashes between Arab and African Masalite tribes. The clashes between the Rizeigat and Masalite tribes began with a shooting last Saturday in a camp for displaced people in the state capital, called El Geneina. Heavy weapons and rocket-propelled grenades have been used. So far this year, fighting in West Darfur and South Darfur has killed approximately 470 people, while more than 120,000 have been displaced. I'm sorry for the Africans. Bizarre news. The head of the company founded by Elon Musk says the technology already exists to create a real-life Jurassic Park. Max Hodak, president and co-founder of Neuralink, a company in which Elon Musk is a senior partner, says that technology advanced enough to create a real-life Jurassic Park already exists today. It is just a matter of someone getting the courage to invest in this business. Fear for Mummy Parade. Moving the mummies has reignited fears about the curse of the pharaohs, particularly on social media, after the Ever-Given cargo ship blocked in the Suez Canal train accident that killed dozens of people late last month, and the collapse of building in downtown Cairo, not to mention the thousands of deaths caused by the bug. Europe's oldest 3D map found on a slab in France. An ornate slab found in Brittany, northwest France, has just begun a new source of cartographic knowledge with the discovery of Europe's oldest relief map, dating from the early Bronze Age. It has a graphic composition in 4 quadrants. The International Space Station captured a gigantic planet-sized UFO over Earth. On April 1st, 2021, the International Space Station's live broadcast recorded the bright spherical anomaly that appeared to rise from the horizon. It gradually took the shape of a large planet-sized object, becoming brighter until it slowly faded away, disappearing as if it had never existed, according to the esoteric paranormal world website. Although the anomaly appeared to be behind the horizon, it was actually the movement of the Earth that caused it to emerge out of nowhere. This sighting provoked all kinds of reactions among the experts in the field, who claim that it was a mothership of external origin near our planet. They say that for hundreds of years they have been following our activity on our planet, and even that space agencies are aware of it, since there is cooperation between races from other worlds and some countries on Earth. Cosmic rarity detected 2 double quasars emerging galaxies. It is like finding a needle in a haystack. A group of astronomers have detected 2 double quasars, which are closer to each other than any other pair located to date in the distant universe. This proximity is due to the fact that they are located in a pair of meshing galaxies. Quasars are very bright cores of distant galaxies, which are powered by supermassive black holes in their interiors and unleash a torrent of radiation. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, and be happy, dear friends.